Judge is now involved in Otter Creek's town hall meetings, the biggest real-life garbage pail kids in history. Town hall in Otter Creek, the meeting is just one day away. That happens every third Tuesday of the month. And with that being said, a judge is now blocking all financial disclosures. And so right now you're going, how's that involved in Otter Creek Town Hall? Well, I'm about to share with you. So Florida financial disclosure law, which is Form 6, we've talked about all that before. Russ the Sus didn't fill out Form 6. Well, now is being blocked by a federal judge. That federal judge blocking Form 6, this is Town Hall over here, judge comes in, and now Form 6 is null and void potentially, which means Russ the Sus could worm his way back into the town hall. And that would not be good for Otter Creek or its residents. Let's see what this judge has to say. Then we're going to go over the agenda for town hall. A U.S. District Court judge issued a preliminary injunction. Now, I know you guys all know the word injunction. So, injunction means a stop to. It's going to halt. It can't move forward. So, for example, LIEnette was able to get a temporary injunction on me in Florida by a judge who was not doing his duty as a judge, who is going to be removed as a judge. A new judge will hear on that temporary injunction and will be removed, in my opinion. Now, I can't forecast all of the future. That's what I think exactly is what's going to happen. A federal judge is now saying Form 6 needs to stop. Okay, remember that injunction, that temporary injunction that LIEnette got on me, that says I can't be within 500 feet of her. Okay, but I never wanted to be in 500 feet of her. I don't want her anywhere near me, nor Crook either. But I'm the one that actually has a permanent restraining order, a permanent civil protection order, a permanent injunction. All means the same thing on both of them, which that date for them going to town hall meeting is now solidified within the Ohio courts for the contempt of court hearing. That'll be another episode. But you understand that a federal judge is saying this Form 6 must stop. It's being blocked by the federal judge. Okay, so the injunction prevents the Florida Commission on Ethics from enforcing the new Form 6 requirements for elected officials. Now, it is the Florida Commission of Ethics that actually governs all of this. Not only that, I've had quite a few meetings with the Florida Commission of Ethics this past week because Russ the Sus is under full and complete and total, well, he's under a huge investigation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you right here. You can see conversations in my call history right there. And so they're bringing me down for this full investigation of Russ the Sus. Major issues right now. And Russ the Sus can't deny it. He knows it's happening because it is a fully launched investigation of him now. Again, for another video, but we're going to stay focused on this one. Okay, so the United States District Court Judge Melissa Damian has issued a preliminary injunction that prevents the Florida Commission on Ethics from enforcing the new Form 6 requirements for elected officials. Now, I've talked a lot about Form 6, how intrusive it is, how it's an invasion of privacy, how I would never feel comfortable with it, how I would never want individuals to know everything that I own over $1,000 or where it's located. Trust is a huge issue for me, and so many people love to break trust. I have to employ people I can trust. I have to employ people that I'm okay with sorting something that could be worth $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, maybe someday $1 million, who knows, and trust them not to pocket that. Also, knowing that there's things in my home that could be worth more than $1,000. You don't want to invite a criminal into your home to steal from you. That would be extremely foolish. And so this judge is now saying, hey, this is not okay. So what is Form 6? I'm going specifically from the article right now, okay? And this is from the Observer, and it says, what is Form 6? Well, Form 6 is a full and public financial disclosure filed by county candidates, including commissioners, constitutional officers, school board members, and judges. And the form is usually filed directly with the Florida Commission on Ethics, unless it's during the year the office is up for election. And in the past, Florida's ethics laws have required local elected public officials to disclose their primary sources of employment each year. But officials of elected to city, town governments filed a Form 1 disclosure, which required them to list assets over 10,000 and liabilities. So something that you own that's over 10,000, let's say, for example, Hales headquarters is over 10,000, or something that is a liability you owe over 10,000 on. Let's say you took out a loan on a truck and I owe 15,000 on it, which I don't, but I'm just saying, let's just say. Well, I would have to disclose that in Form 1, okay? As well as sources of income and property holdings, but it did not require candidates to specify dollar amounts. Interesting. So Form 1 says, hey, you don't have to specify dollar amounts, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. But Form 6, well, it got very specific. However, the new legislation form requires net worth exceeding $1,000 and itemized income that exceeds $1,000. More than 100 elected officials have now stepped down due to the new law, including a previous council member in the town of Windermere. They love this. They love it. All right, they're good. They heard me. All right. Damien's the judge, found that it is not apparent from the record that a change to the Form 1 requirement to the Form 6 requirement was necessary, nor that SB 774 is substantially related to the state's identified interest. The new Form 6, which we were first told about here, this is from the article, was signed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis earlier this year. So the governor put this in law, and the whole aspect and hope of this was to eliminate further corruption, theft. So when you have to actually reveal everything you owe over $1,000, if you actually have to reveal all your liabilities, when it's out there for the public, which we've already looked at Don the Cons, and he lied, and he did it incorrectly on most of it. When you have to do that, there's accountability, and that's supposed to limit the corruption. But you also can see how you can work around it and still be corrupt, like Don the Con. He did it incorrectly, purposefully, intentfully, or accidentally. We'll never know. But the new Florida Form 6, which the form is facing 2 lawsuits by Weiss, Serrata, Helpman, Cole, and Bierman, PL. More than 170 municipal officials, not offices, officials, more than 170 elected municipal officials from throughout Florida challenged the law as a violation of the First Amendment. And Damien ruled, First Amendment, there's that First Amendment again that I'm fighting for in Florida as well. Judge Damien ruled that the elected municipal officials have demonstrated a reasonable likelihood that they will succeed on the merits of their claim. They prevented the members of the commission from enforcing the new requirements statewide during the pendency of the lawsuit. So what's happening right now is all these individuals have stepped down because of Form 6, including Madam Mayor Therese, the intrusiveness of it, the invasion of privacy of it. And now these members who have all stepped down from their town, from their city governments. These are individuals who make little to no money. They do it because they love their community, they love the people that live in the community, or they do it because they're extremely corrupt, like Russ the Sus, Don the Cop. And so these individuals have filed lawsuit, and this judge has said, Form 6 stops right here, right now. Now, this isn't the absolute end all. The judge has not said that it's completely and totally unconstitutional. The judge has said nothing can happen at this point until the whole court is heard about it. For example, you can look at LIEnette trying to get the injunction on me. And Judge DeThomasis then goes, after she lies and she says, oh my goodness, Mark Feather, he tried to bribe me. And then Judge DeThomasis goes, okay, well, we're going to put a temporary injunction on. It's temporary, meaning it should have an end date. And here we are, I don't even know how many months later, and there's still no end date on this temporary injunction. It's supposed to be temporary until the hearing is over, so you can determine whether it was lawful or unlawful. Now, I think we all know my temporary injunction is unlawful from Judge DeThomas's. This temporary injunction seems to be pretty lawful in regards to Form 6. So it goes on to say, this is the most intrusive form of financial disclosure that I am aware of in the entire nation, requiring more disclosure of quite essential personal financial information than is required even of the President of the United States, members of Congress, and elected officials in every other state, said Jamie A. Cole, firm partner of Fort Lauderdale office, managing director, and the lead attorney representing the plaintiffs, said in a press release. And this is correct. This is more, for the little town of Otter Creek, more financial information is being disclosed than even the President of the United States. Now we got to ask the question, why? Why? Why in the state of Florida? I don't think I have the answer yet. Okay. All right, so Jamie Cole goes on to say this, okay, and says most municipality elected officials receive little to no compensation for their public service, yet they're being asked to disclose their precise net worth, their income, their assets. The legislation overreach has already resulted in a mass resignation of about 125 municipal elected officials, and if allowed, would discourage many others from serving in their communities. Cole added that the preliminary injunction is a significant step in the plaintiff's efforts to ultimately obtain a ruling that Form 6 disclosure requirements are unconstitutional. WSHC plus B partners Edward G. Jewis and Ann Flanagan, as well as Associate Jeremy Rosner, are co-counsel in Cole representing the plaintiffs. Now, here's a little background, okay? I hope you're getting what's already being said, is that Form 6 is unconstitutional, and these lawyers are suing the state because the state is requiring, under Ron DeSantis, requiring these local officials, a town of less than 100 people, Otter Creek, to disclose more financial information than even the President of the United States. That's mind-blowing, because Otter Creek means nothing in compared to the entire nation. I mean, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, even all the things he said, all the trouble he's in, has not had to disclose as much as Russ the Sus would have had to. You realize this could open the door for Russ the Sus to now try and get back in and manipulate and control the residents of Otter Creek. Here's the background. Locally, the town of Windermere is one of the municipalities that is part of the lawsuit. The first lawsuit was filed Thursday, February 15th, in Leon County Circuit Court. The complainant filed in Florida court states that the form violates city officials' right to privacy under the Florida Constitution. The lawsuit, the added disclosure, and unwarranted intrusion into the privacy of municipal elected officials, and unnecessary safety risks. It states that airing the personal financial details could make officials targets of robbery, identity theft, and extortion. You realize extortion is just one of the things that I'm suing LIEnette and CROOK for. So everything I've said from the beginning about this Form 6 and how uncomfortable I was with it is literally now being challenged in the court of law at the federal level, and it's saying the exact same things. It targets robbery, it targets identity theft, it targets extortion, and that's just some of the three biggies. There could be a whole lot more to it. A second lawsuit now in Form 6, filed in federal court, contends that it violates the rights to be free of government-compelled speech under the U.S. Constitution. In other words, the First Amendment. Okay? In other words, they're limiting those who could be using and exercising their free speech. The complaint states that the added financial disclosure does not prevent or even ameliorate the conflict of interest of public corruption, nor does it increase public confidence in government, which is what Ron DeSantis said it was supposed to do. The more we know, the more confident we're supposed to be in them. Now, ask yourself the question, why didn't Russ the Sus fill it out? What doesn't he want us to know? That's the biggest question right now. And if it's blocked, is he going to try and manipulate his way back in? I think we all know the answer to that. It's absolutely, hails yes. The complaints both were filed against the commission members who enforced the law. That's the Ethics Commission in Florida. They're the ones in charge of enforcing the law. The complaints argue that there is less restrictive means available to accomplish the compelling state interest of evaluating a conflict of interest and deterring corruption. Okay, now focus in on that. Now, the state says Form 6 was all for evaluating conflicts of interest and deterring corruption. So let's take this as an example. You've got LIEnette. We know she has no money whatsoever. We know she's illegally living on property. And therefore, Form 6 in that situation would be extremely beneficial, because the only reason she would want to get on the board or the town council is for her own benefit, for the corruption of trying to pass things for herself, make things happen that legally should not be happening. That's Form 6 there is a deterrent. Form 6 there is deterring the corruption that could possibly be there. Form 6 there shows glaringly the conflict of interest that would be there. But that's not for everybody. She doesn't represent the planet. She's a minute portion of people such as Madam Mayor Therese, now Mayor Zim, Vice Mayor Carl, and others as well. And so it goes on to say, officials who fail to file the form can face a civil penalty of $20,000. Now, I want to be very clear. Russ still hasn't filed the form. He had till June 1st to file the form, under penalty of $20,000. He did not file the form. Now a judge is blocking this $20,000 fine, which is going to be interesting to see if it permanently gets blocked, and therefore he doesn't have to pay the $20,000 fine. And that fine actually accrues every single day. So more money is added, more money is added, more money. Every single day on the calendar, more money is added. All right, and potential removal from office following an investigation and a public hearing, according to the complaints. Unlike county and state officials, many city officials, primary and smaller municipalities, that is a hard word to say. I'm glad I had a little help there. Primarily, now I'm struggling with primarily. Primarily, the smaller municipalities receive little or no pay for their services. Okay, so what does this mean in the long run? Right now, a judge has said no Form 6. And right now, Don the Con has stepped down, saying he's not going to any longer serve on the town council, which means there's an open seat, which means Russ the Sus didn't fill out Form 6. And as such, he's now not even going to be fined unless the judge says, okay, Form 6 is legal. Russ the Sus should show up, could show up, would show up, and try and derail everything positive happening in Otter Creek. Georgia sent me a picture of this month's agenda for the town hall meeting. And so she's there currently, and she will be at the town hall meeting. And then I'm sure I'll probably get some of the footage as well. The biggest question is LIEnette and Crook going to show up at the town hall meeting, knowing that they already have another contempt of court hearing in Ohio for breaking the civil protection orders. So the very first thing on the agenda is the call to order, the pledge, and the roll call. Remember that roll call is extremely important because the banks need that. They need to know exactly who's in the meeting. They need to have assigned minutes afterwards, or you can't function as a council with everyday business items, okay? And also, after that, it's approval of agenda for the monthly meeting. Now, they're literally going to be approving the agenda that I'm reading and looking at right now. And so they'll put that up for approval, they'll discuss it, and then hopefully it will pass. So from there, it goes on to approval of the minutes from May 21st, 2024. If approved as submitted, Mayor will sign one copy for public record. Now, that is the exact meeting where Don the Con walks out, recording illegally as a member of the council, or maybe he's not. We're still under inquiry of whether he would officially be a member or whether he would not officially be a member. I think that's a question that will be answered by Megan, the lawyer, at this month's meeting. And so he got up, he said, "I'm done, I quit." Everybody wants to know, is he still a member? I think that's one of the things we're going to find out, because it's really interesting. He's not on this agenda, but he's not the only one that's not on this agenda. And then it goes into new business. Now, this is the most curious portion, because it does say, I'll show again, it's right there. Hopefully I don't highlight it too much, but it says open council seat. Now, Deanna could run for that open council seat. Not that she's going to. George could run for that open council seat. Not that she's going to. The new owners of the campground could run for that open council seat. I don't know if they're going to. Other members of the community could run for that open council seat. For example, one of the Hudson sisters, carrying on the tradition of their parents. That would be incredible as well. But it does say new business, open council seat. I think that's where we're going to get an update. Where is Don in all of this? Is he in all of this, or is he gone for good? Considering it says open council seat and it's not an open council seat, I think they gave him an opportunity, and that he denied that opportunity to continue to serve on that council, which I know is going to upset George. She loves that he's there for comic relief. He says some of the dumbest things, making you even question whether he thinks or not, whether his mind is altered by other chemicals or not. But it would appear that is going to be open for the community residents. And I think it's funny that there are some individuals that will go on other people's channels who do not live in Otter Creek and say, you should run for that seat. You can't. You have to be a resident of Otter Creek to run for the council of Otter Creek, which should make you wonder, why does that individual even go there anyway then? Well, because he's a copycat, riding on the coattails of What the Hales. And it gets old. Very old. But we're going to keep going forward. Then it goes on to old business. They're going to talk about the festival again and the special events. Now, I want to be very clear. When this festival happens, if this festival happens, and any special events, I will make sure I publicly announce it on What the Hales, so that you can come and be supportive of the residents of Otter Creek. I know you want to be, as it is already. And so there's special times where you can come together. Fans can come together. Half Meal Time to Grill. The individuals who came to Half Meal Time to Grill booked out literally every single hotel room in Chiefland, Florida. Not to mention bed and breakfasts and rooms in Cedar Key, Crystal River, and the list goes on and on. It was one of the most incredible events ever. Christmas in the Creek was an incredible event. But this could even be bigger, where every room is booked out with What the Hales fans. But you're not there for What the Hales. You're there for the residents of Otter Creek, to show them support, your love, wanting their community to get better. I mean, this could be an incredible endeavor, and I'm excited to share those opportunities with you. Then it moves on to department reports, as you can see here, just showing there. Now, the interesting thing here in the department reports is, number one, I see no Don the Con. Number two, I see no Joe. I see Belinda as an administrative, which is normal. She typically is there. I see Richard as maintenance, which is normal. He's typically there. I see water, which is Mayor Zim, which is normal. He's typically there. I see public safety, and this is the interesting part. I see Laura Mott under public safety. I don't see Vice Mayor Carl. Now, that doesn't mean that Vice Mayor Carl or Joe, Councilmember Joe, aren't a part of a different department. Maybe Laura Mott came forward and said, I really would like to be in charge of public safety for Otter Creek. Well, I would hope then that she would take care of the dog issue. I would hope then she would take care of the traffic issue. I would hope then she'd take care of the rug issues. That is a major, major public safety concern. I would hope that she would take care of the illegal Breaking of civil protection orders. I would hope that she would look into a police department for Otter Creek that we would never be able to afford. I would hope. And we could go on and on and on in regards to the safety concerns in Otter Creek. Now, she might have came to them. They might have came to her. At any rate, I don't know how it happened. I just know she's on here as public safety under department reports. So I see Mayor Zim, I see Laura Mott, I see Belinda and Richard. The only change is Laura Mott. Maybe this will be an opportunity for Laura Mott to actually step up her game. Instead of me saying I'm not for Mott, I might have to say, do you got Mott? I don't know. She has the opportunity to prove me wrong, but I do know that individual safety is a major concern in Otter Creek, whether it be garbage, whether it be random stray dogs, whether it be firearms being brandished and shot off, whether it be fill in the blank, you've seen it. The biggest concern is rugs. When will it change? All right. Then it goes on very succinctly. It is literally new business, open council seat, old business, festival and special events, department reports, then straight into the announcements, which is children's food table, which that's for those of lower income if they want to get some help and assistance with the food. Signing up for email water bills, which is always great. Wakasasa water. I always love saying Wakasasa. Reminds me of Fozzie Bear on the Muppets. Waka waka waka. I know that was Pac-Man again. Wakasasa. Okay. Water and Wastewater Cooperative meeting, Wednesday, June 19th, 2024 at 1 p.m. And there's a bunch of different locations and those meetings. That's getting fresh water to Otter Creek. And then public comments, where it's said, members of the public have 3 minutes to comment on items or issues discussed at the meeting. Now, I would like to challenge the council that while they have put parameters on here, it is illegal to actually place those parameters on any public comments. You can say anything you want as long as it's covered by constitutional protected speech. Your council members cannot put parameters around your speech. And while I'm all for this council, and I'm still on the fence about Laura Mott, I want them to be protecting themselves by not saying and putting in parameters that you can only have 3 minutes to comment on the items that were discussed at this meeting. You can get up and I can recite the ABCs for 3 minutes if I want. They can't legally stop that. I can go up there for 3 minutes and say every vulgar word I know. You can't stop that. It's illegal and they would place themselves in liability. And I'm hoping they finally get to that point of going, all right, we understand. We got a lot of guests. And there does need to be some structure. There does need to be that, that presence of excellence, even if there are unexcellent or inexcellent people there. Don the Con may show up. Russ the Sus may show up. He can say whatever he wants for 3 minutes. They cannot stop him or they place themselves in legal liability. And I don't want to see them do that. Russ the Sus can go up there and as long as it's protected speech, can say whatever he wants. It doesn't have to be anything that deals with what the issues were on the agenda. And then the public is encouraged to visit Town Hall during scheduled business hours or leave comments in the drop box anytime to be reviewed, addressed, and added to the next meeting or agenda as necessary. And then adjournment. And so as quickly as this meeting is starting, it looks like it's going to just as quickly end. But will Russ the Sus show up? And what is his ultimate plan? He's up to something. I know it, and you know it.